Welcome to our annual Africa Day event. Please put your hands together. This is our 2025 edition. We are excited and really, really glad to have this opportunity to host this event again this year. To flag off the event, and without much ado, I want to welcome to the stage our founding chair for the African Scholars Forum at UMass Boston, our former interim dean of the McCormick Graduate School, and a professor of global governance and international relations, Dr. Rita Kiki Edozie. Please put your hands together for her. AKA Obirin Meji.
Thank you, Dr. Cecilia Idekakalu, and let me take this opportunity to thank you, who is our current chair of the Africa Scholars Forum. Please give a round of applause to Dr. Cecilia Idekakalu. I want to begin the event because we're already late, and I know we have a lot of important people waiting to speak, and we're going to have a really fantastic, intellectually vibrant and vital day for you again. I am, as Dr. Cecilia mentioned, Kiki Edozie. I am a professor of global governance and international relations here at UMass Boston, and I am, as she said, the founding chair of the university-wide Africa Scholars Forum. We at the ASF, as we call ourselves, are so excited to host our 7th annual Africa Day 2025. Over the years, thank you. Over the years, we've used this forum to convene scholars of Africa, be they professors, students, community members, and especially policy practitioners. We bring them together to engage in dialogue, discussion, and debate and study about the interdisciplinary study of Africa. This year's theme is Africa in Global Governance and Policy, in recognition of the importance of the political, social, and economic situation of the continent in light of rapid changes taking place in the world and their implications for Africa since the millennium. Significantly, just last year in 2024, in acknowledgement of Africa's increasing global engagement, the UN Pact pledged to redress the historical injustice against Africa as a priority and to improve the continent's representation on the United Nations Security Council to be more representative of the contemporary diverse world. Setting out the aspirations of its 50-plus member countries and over 1 billion people, the 2024 president of the African Union, at the time president of Sierra Leone, Julius Bayo, stated Africa's goals for inclusion and representation very clearly when he said, Africa demands 2 permanent seats on the UN Security Council and 2 additional non-permanent seats, bringing the total number of non-permanent seats to 5. The African Union will choose the continent's permanent members, and Africa wants the veto abolished. However, if UN member states wish to retain the veto, it must extend the veto to all new permanent African members as a matter of justice. Historically as well, representing its member states, the African Union became the 2nd regional organization to become a permanent member of the G20. This is historic. The only other regional member is the European Union. So the African Union's Pan-African Dialogue on Global Governance goal is to organize the continent around its own growing contribution in global affairs. Among many issues that are being deliberated for the dialogue are the contribution of Africa to international decision-making processes, the reform of global institutions and governance in multilateral institutions, and the observance of African common policy positions on contemporary global issues. The annual 2025 UMass Boston Africa Scholars Forum Day, Africa Day, at the John McCormack School of Policy and Global Studies will engage this full day today conference addressing these issues. We have a short but intellectually vibrant day with our keynote speakers, which is a stalemated now tradition of our Africa Day. This year's policy keynote speaker is the Chargé d'Affaires, that's another way of saying the deputy ambassador of the South African Embassy to the US, and his name is Ismail Esau, and he will discuss South Africa's role in African global governance. Our academic keynote speaker is Professor Thomas Kwasi Tieku, who will present his lecture on African perspectives on global governance. And we have two student and alumni panels from our Department of Conflict Resolution, Human Security, and Global Governance, and especially the Global Governance and Human Security PhD program. And we have some newly minted doctoral students as well as current candidates, and their panel will be governing Africa in global affairs with local impact, and they're looking at politics and society, as well as political economy issues. We have an Afrocentric luncheon, and if they get here, we'll have a breakfast for you. So hold on, we are going to feed you this morning as well. And I'd like to really welcome, our speakers, our participants to this mini conference today. I'd like to especially up front, I'm going to do a lot of thanking to our sponsors, and I just want to mention them. The McCormack Graduate School of Policy and Global Studies, headed now by Professor Adunia Lemi. Thank you for your support for the program. The Office of Inclusive Excellence is a newly minted office here, the Office of Inclusive Excellence and Belonging. Dr. Calvin Hill, your presence on campus has been fantastic for the diaspora of multicultural peoples. Thank you so much for your support. The Office of the Provost, Provost Berger is with us. Thank you so much, Provost Berger, always supporting this Africa Day. I think he loves Malawi, so his days back in Africa ring true. The Office of the Chancellor's Senior Advisor for Black Life has been supportive as well. The Pan-African Graduate Student Association, PAGSA, thank you. And the Department of Conflict Resolution, Human Security, and Global Governance. I see Lee representing. Thank you so much for your support as well. But thank you to the organizers behind the scenes, who this would not have happened without them. I want to locate Charlotte Nambi before I forget, or before she leaves, if she is here. Thank you so much. And Gifty DeBorders Jackson, as well. And, of course, Infomedia, Brian is there. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone now. Lots of thanks, later on today. But what I'd like to do now is introduce our first welcome speaker, and he is Dr. Adunia Lemi. Let me just say a few words about you. I'm sorry, Adunia, we stand on ceremony in Africa. We want to introduce you well. Professor Lemi is currently the director of the McCormack Graduate School of Policy and Global Studies, and he is an associate dean in the College of Liberal Arts. Adunia joined UMass Boston in 2004. He was the chair of the economics department for 7 years. His teaching and research actually also focus on Africa. So he is a member of the Africa Scholars forum. His research interests are on economic development of Africa, capital flows, and developing world countries, MNCs, and their role in developing countries. His scholarship has been published in journals as wide as World Economy, Empirical Economics, Transnational Corporations, and many others. And he is currently writing a book entitled, maybe he's published that book already, The Trade, Productivity, and Poverty Nexus in Africa, Policy Implications and Recommendations. Thank you so much, Doctor. Let me please come up to give you a welcome remarks.
Good morning. Thank you, Professor Edozie, for the introduction. Probably my welcome speech will be shorter than my introduction, but thank you all for coming, and I'm happy to see all of you. Particularly, I'm happy to see our keynote speaker coming all the way from Canada, and I'm also happy to see Provost Berger and for your continued support. Thank you so much. Dr. Calvin Hill for your support, continued support, and I also see Dr. Joseph Cooper there for his support in the past and continuing to support the Africa Scholar Forum. The topic that this forum will discuss today, Professor Edozie already mentioned, is timely and relevant, and it is a little personal for me because this has been some of the topics that I've been working on for my research. Just to mention some of them, to reiterate what Professor Edozie was saying, representation in the UN Security Council, Africa's contribution in international decision-making, and the two more important issues that's coming up in recent months are the global trade and tariff issues, which Africa's voice is still not heard, but Africa ends up being heard the most in terms of the global tariff when the two economic powerhouses are making decisions as the multinational institutions in the IMF, the World Bank, and other organizations that affect African countries the most. These are important topics for our annual Africa Day, and I thank also the keynote speaker who will be joining us later on Zoom, focusing on the global governance and the role of Africa. After saying that, I just want to thank some people that Professor Edozie now mentioned. There are people who supported us, not only in MEGS, but also outside of MEGS. But within MEGS, I would like to thank also Professor Edozie for her continued support of the program, for putting tirelessly her time and energy to contribute to events like this and beyond. Thank you, Professor Edozie. I also would like to thank Professor Cecilia Adiko-Kalu. Where is she? She also is a chair, the current chair of the Africa Scholar Forum, tireless contribution to this event and to this program. Professor Edozie also mentioned Charlotte. Charlotte is right there now. Thank you, Charlotte, for all your time, energy putting together. We have also Gifty Deborah Jackson Jefferson. She's somewhere here. And also would like to thank Alexander Ray, which is a McCormack budget manager, who made all the financial transactions to make this happen. So thank you, Alex. The co-sponsors are also made significant contribution. I would like to mention them. Finally, I just want to say the McCormack Graduate School is happy to continue to support such events. This is one of the one of the signature events at the McCormack Graduate School, as we support similar events to help find solution to global issues, to help find solution to any thing that we can handle in terms of policy, African countries, global and multinational corporations that affects African countries in any way. I would like to invite Professor Edozie back. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Okay, let me introduce our provost. He's got a very long, resume, but I'll say a few. I know I'll truncate it this time. Let me start by saying he is the current provost and the vice chancellor, of academic affairs. He's a renowned and award-winning scholar himself, whose work focuses on higher education policy, organizational leadership, the impact of higher education on key stakeholders. He has authored dozens of journal articles, book chapters, and research reports. He's received more than $62 million in funding for his work from prestigious external agencies like the National Science Foundation and the now defunct United States Agency of International Development, USAID, and so much more. We're really grateful for his support every year for this program. Please welcome Provost Deval.
Good morning. All right, B minus. We'll try that again. Good morning. Good morning. All right, that's more like it. So it's a real pleasure to be here. And I really want to thank Dr. Edozie, Kiki, and I also want to thank Cecilia. Kiki, for your years of leadership that has made this, as Adunia said, a signature event, not just for the McCormick School, but for UMass Boston. And this is incredibly important for us as a community because we are very proud to be the third most diverse university in the US. Boston is a alpha world-class city, but we're also dedicated champions to diversity, equity, and inclusion at all levels, globally, locally, right down to interpersonal relations. Yeah, I think that's worth applauding. And in the current context, this is important to note. And we're also, I will say, we are lucky to be in the state of Massachusetts where we have leadership, where we have a governor, where we have an attorney general who have doubled down on saying this is legal activity. But regardless, our DNA will not change. We will continue, no matter what the current storms are, to navigate through them so that we can make sure that we are working with partners around the world, including in Africa, to promote these values, this mission, and we can't do it alone. And so to have Africa Day here every year gives us an opportunity to really engage in thinking about how all of us, no matter what our origins, can be enriched by, informed by, and empowered by better understanding what happens in Africa, what is the role of Africa in the world, and then how can we better leverage our relationships with our kindred spirits, our communities in Africa and around the world. And Africa is both a place, right, as a richly diverse continent, but Africa is also a diasporic influence that has shaped the entire world, and we owe a debt of gratitude for that. I personally, as Kiki noted, have a very special place in my heart for Africa, and particularly Malawi, where I had the privilege of working for several years to help develop the first graduate programs in education there, where I learned an amazing amount from my colleagues there and my first graduate students that I got to teach there. But my family meant that when my children were young, I got to spend quite a bit of time in Malawi, and it influenced the rest of their lives in incredibly rich ways. So to have a day here where we bring together our faculty, our students, our staff, and our partners to focus on Africa and global governance right now, there could not be a more important topic. When we look at the challenges to good global governance in multiple countries around the world, this is a seminal point. in human history. So this is where we have to work across national boundaries, where we have to learn from each other, and we have to really think about what are the principles of good governance and what role can we play, not just within our own country, and we have work to do, but how can we learn from each other in a variety of different experiments in democracy to improve not just what happens in Africa, what happens in the US, but where we really understand that there's no going back. We are a global community. So this is an important day. And it aligns with the values and the priorities and the mission of UMass Boston. I know it's going to be a great day. And I thank you very, very much for coming together and to focusing on good global governance in Africa. So thank you so much.
Okay, so it is my pleasure to introduce and to invite up our newest member of the UMass community, Dr. Calvin Hill. The other day, Dr. Hill mentioned that he has the coolest email address ever. I didn't know what he meant until I emailed him after. It's chill. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but it really is very chill, and you're right about that. Dr. Hill currently serves as the Vice Chancellor of Inclusive Excellence and Belonging here at UMass Boston. Prior to his current role, Dr. Hill was President of Inclusion and Community Engagement at Springfield College in Springfield, Massachusetts. In his role here and there, among other responsibilities, he's responsible for creating an inclusive and diverse campus community. And I'll have to tell you that he's doing such a fantastic job here at UMass Boston in exactly what we need. And, thank you so much for your service. In addition to his administrative appointments, he has numerous years of higher education teaching experience. He began his teaching career at Anna Maria College in Paxton, Massachusetts, where he served as an assistant professor in the Division of Business Law and Public Policy. Dr. Hill has been a faculty member in the Rehabilitation Counseling graduate program at Assumption College for over 12 years. And he received his Bachelor of Arts degree in History, Political Science from Bethany College in Kansas, a Master's of Science degree in Student Personnel Administration from Emporia State University in Kansas, and a Doctorate of Philosophy degree in Political Science from HU, Howard University, Washington, D.C. It is my pleasure to invite Dr. Calvin Hill to welcome us. Thank you, Dr. Hill.
Well, good morning, everyone. All right, I'm going to do a little better than the provost. I'm going to give you an A. I'm going to give you an A. I am so thrilled to be here for my first Africa Day here on campus. But it is the 7th annual UMass Boston Africa Scholars Forum. And I'm so excited that I get to be here with you for the entire day. Now, the provost has left, but I'm going to share with you in a couple of my remarks here in a little bit that I'm a little disappointed that I did not get to go before him, and you're going to find out why here in a second. Today's theme, Africa and global governance and policy, as you all know, could not be more timely. So I am thrilled that UMass Boston is playing a role in educating us today, but at the same time assisting Africa in asserting its influence in today's global landscape. As you look at the program today, we've got some amazing scholars who are going to be speaking to us on a host of issues, from politics to the economy, that I'm looking forward to partaking in. And I'm also looking forward to hearing from our students, hearing amazing research that our students are doing. Now, as some of you all may also know, just 2 to 3 weeks ago here in this room, we held the Resilient Mass Summit with a focus on local climate actions in the context of global change. Governor Wilbur Etizo of Vihiga County, Kenya, was in attendance and spoke to us about some of the pressing issues around climate in East Africa. Now, I share with you that I am excited, or was excited, I should say, to see that I was actually going to be going before the provost, because it is my understanding that Governor Etizo will be hosting the next climate summit in Kenya. Now, I don't know about you, but I was going to try to wrangle my way onto the UMass Boston delegation. So I think by connecting with the provost, I might have an ability to do that. But in short, again, I am so proud of this institution and the work that we are doing, and I'm excited that we are playing a role in providing some context to the collective global issues that are going on. And I think for those of us that have been paying attention to the news, we know that what is occurring around the globe also impacts us locally. You know, if it's not only about how we are dealing with climate issues, if it's how we are dealing with tariff, if it's how we are dealing with citizens having an ability to go from country to country, these are times for us to have these vital conversations. Now, I also know, just as someone that has been a part of conference planning, that conferencing takes a lot of time, energy, and talent. So this morning and afternoon, I want to acknowledge those that have played a role in pulling this together. So Dr. Kiki Edozie, thank you so much for all that you have done. I had the opportunity, as you've heard, to join the UMass Boston community just about 10 months ago. And Dr. Kiki was one of the first persons that I believe that I had an opportunity to connect with and meet across campus. And your love, your patience with me as someone that's new to the community, and the values that I see you espousing around the UMass Boston community are amazing. So thank you so much. I also saw Dr. Adiki Kalu somewhere. I saw her this morning, but I had the opportunity to meet Cecilia in an elevator. And Cecilia was going up to the third floor of the Quinn building where I am located. And you know how when you are in the presence of people, you know, I just had an opportunity to say, hey, how you doing? And we started a conversation, and next thing I knew, she was coming to my office, and the next thing I knew, she was going to take me to this amazing Ghanaian restaurant to have some great food, you know. So Danielle and I, who Danielle serves as the special assistant in our office, we're looking forward to engaging with Cecilia. And then I also know that Dr. Banwo has been part of the planning on this committee as well. If you don't know, Dr. Banwo is a Florida. Well, he went to another HBCU, Florida A&M. So he and I get a chance to have that HBCU rivalry back and forth here on campus. So as I'm hoping that you will see, even though diasporically we come from various spaces and walks of life, we are here, as the provost said, on a campus that has been identified as the third most diverse campus in the United States, to not only support our students, but we are also, most importantly, here to support each other. You know, so I am thrilled that you all are here to be a part of this conversation, and that we are going to have a morning of supporting each other. So again, I know how much conference planning is a chore. So again, to Dr. Kiki, Dr. Adika, Kalu, and Dr. Banwa, thank you for showing UMass Boston love. Thank you for bringing this expertise and this knowledge to us. But most importantly, I want to say thank you for showing love to the continent. As many of us that come from the diaspora, it is a goal to have something of a homegoing. And I had the privilege 2 years ago to go to Accra and to spend 10 days touring several aspects or several parts of Ghana. And if I can share with you that it was a life-changing experience, and if you are from the continent, please take me back next time you go. And if you have not gone, I want to encourage you to do so. So today, let me also share with you that while there, I had the privilege of having about 9 outfits made. So I was a little disappointed when I walked up in here. I'm gonna just say it, and I did not see my brothers and sisters representing. I see you. I see you. I see a couple of you. But next year on the 8th annual, we got to bring it home. We got to, because I got 7 more outfits. So we're gonna have to bring it home. All right. So today, I want you to join me, because if you haven't had a chance to be in the presence of where I am. I'm the son of a Baptist minister, so I love call and response. I love engagement, and my personality, I love that chill email address. I had to advocate for that. So I got to campus, and the first thing I told the chancellor when I was interviewing, I said, you know what, if you want me, you got to give me chill. So I was able to get chill. And I think that helps me to build relationships with our students as they're looking to connect. And it also is part of my personality. Doing diversity, equity, and inclusion work is hard work. And today, perhaps more than any other time in my career, I'm finding it a challenge. As a matter of fact, while I am hopeful and while the Provost spoke about the fact that we are here in Massachusetts, I'm seeing colleagues around the country losing their positions. I don't know what the landscape is going to look like next year, but I'm happy to be in your presence today. And I'm going to come to campus the way that I do every single day, and that's just like I am today. Because if I come to campus and I have this woe-is me spirit, that's not going to support our students. That's not going to help our faculty and our staff who are in the struggle to come in here every single day to educate our most best and brightest of students. So what you're going to see from me is this. I'm going to be engaged. I'm going to be the best cheerleader that I can for UMass Boston, and I ask you all to do the same with me. So today, as we celebrate, because I think of today as a celebration, as we think about the continent, as we think about all the amazing contributions that it has provided to us as a people, that we are going to celebrate, we are going to expand our knowledge base, and we are going to think not only about what we're getting, but most importantly, about what we are going to give back. The value of an education is to receive, but it's also to give back. So today we're going to get educated. So the knowledge that we take from today, my expectation is that we're going to do something with it. So we're going to advocate within our communities. We're going to call our state and local federal officials. If we are from the continent, we're going to go to our governors, to our presidents, to our delegations, and we're going to call for change. Because today, more than ever, we need change. And I am super excited that we're going to have an opportunity today through this conference to engage in some amazing conversations. So thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all throughout the course of the day, with the exception of 1 or 2 hours that the Chancellor has me in other meetings. But I will definitely be here with you as much as I can today. So thank you.
We're so excited that Dr. Hill has been hired and is with us on campus. He's just making such a difference on campus. So thank you so much again. Now, we have come to the time where we are going to introduce our keynote. Our keynote speaker, our keynote policy speaker is the Chargé d'Affaires, Ismail Esau. However, he is going to be joining us virtually. He is here online in queue, but I did want you to take advantage very quickly for about 5 minutes of the breakfast that we have reserved for you. It is now served. I would like you to take 5 minutes to please go pick some breakfast, some nourishments, come back down and be seated for our keynote with Esau. Before I introduce the Chargé d'Affaires, Esau, I'd like to read the University of Massachusetts tribute written by a former senior vice president in the office of the president at the University of Massachusetts President's Office, and her name is Marcelette Williams. And so, do we have the ambassador online now? I'd like him to hear this because, thank you. Oh, great to see you, Mr. Ambassador Esau. Great to see you, great to meet you. I know we've had lots of conversations. So glad that you could do this. I'd like you to listen to this tribute because it concerns your country. In 2017, she wrote, "The University of Massachusetts," which is our school, has had an enduring, rich relationship with South Africa since the 1970s, when it became one of the first universities to divest of its holdings in apartheid South Africa. An action that swelled a movement around the globe and contributed to the demise of apartheid. In 1993, the UMass Boston campus awarded honorary degrees to key negotiators at the time. One was Rolf Meyer, and the other was a young Cyril Ramaphosa, in acknowledgement of their efforts to accomplish a successful outcome between clashing political parties during the transition negotiations. Meyer was South Africa's Minister of Constitutional Affairs and Communications and the leader of the government's negotiating team working to bring about democracy and end South Africa's white minority rule. Secretary General of the African National Congress at the time, Ramaphosa, worked with Meyer to ensure that the negotiations moved forward even after formal talks had broken down. Recognizing Cyril Ramaphosa, UMass Boston paid tribute to a man whose courageous and tireless pursuit of democratic ideals serves as a model for those who seek to carry on the struggle to achieve a free and equitable society. Today, Cyril Ramaphosa is the 5th and current president of South Africa, and we are honored to welcome the president's U.S. Embassy Chargé d'Affaires, Ismail Esau, to address us in a keynote public lecture. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but I would like to introduce you, Ambassador Esau. I'd like to introduce you that what I did right there was for you, and we'd really like you to take it back to the president. He is a member of this community. He was given an honorary degree in 1993, so please send our regards from UMass Boston in this tribute. Ismail Esau is a career diplomat with the South African Department of International Relations and Cooperation, having served in both bilateral and multilateral areas of engagement. In May 2002, Mr. Esau was appointed as Deputy Chief of Mission at the South African Embassy in Washington, D.C. Currently, he is the Chargé d'Affaires ad interim at the South African Embassy. I think that's just another way of saying that he is the acting ambassador of South Africa to the US. Mr. Ismail is an esteemed career official with the embassy and DIRCO and has a rich history of engagement in both bilateral and multilateral domains. Prior to joining DIRCO, Mr. Esau served as a policy advisor at the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition and served as South Africa's economic representative to Germany at the South African Consulate in Munich, and he is a graduate of the University of Cape Town and holds a degree in economics and a postgraduate degree from the University of Western Cape. It is our pleasure and honor to welcome Mr. Esau to provide a public lecture on South Africa and the world and its role in African global governance. Thank you, Mr. Esau. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you. I hope you can see me. I don't know what it looks like on that side, because virtual ones, you always don't have an overview of who the audience is and who you're looking at. But good morning once again, everybody, and thank you to our professor for Rita Kiki Edozie for your engagement with the South African Embassy. I know we come at a particular time when there's many fluxes, many issues, but we will do that during the course of the speech. But just once again to say thank you to the program director and greetings to the esteemed faculty, to distinguished scholars, members of the PAM Africa Graduate Association, ladies and gentlemen, as you always say in diplomatic wording, all protocols observed. So at the outset, let me take the opportunity to sincerely thank Professor Edozie and Dr. Rita Kiki for extending this generous invitation. And once again, on behalf of the South African Embassy in Washington, D.C., I'm indeed honored and privileged to address this distinguished assembly, though virtually at the 7th Annual Africa Day Conference under the theme, Africa in Global Governance and Policy. This platform allows me and brings together scholars and thought leaders and is a powerful affirmation of the rising influence of Africa's perspectives in shaping international affairs. And before we delve into the central theme, and as Kiki had alluded to earlier, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the enduring and rich relationship between the University of Massachusetts and South Africa. And just to repeat what Kiki had said, since the 1970s, UMass has stood in solidarity with South Africa, taking bold stands against apartheid and fostering dialogue. And as she had also said, in 1993, UMass Boston awarded an honorary degree to our current President Cyril Ramaphosa and Rolf Meyer, recognizing their pivotal roles as chief negotiators who helped steer South Africa towards democracy. This tribute stands a testament to the deep-rooted, between Mass and our nation, a bond grounded in shared values of justice, democracy, and common future. Today's focus, the Pan-African Dialogue on Global Governance, the role of South Africa, invites us to interrogate the evolving nature of global power and to reflect critically on Africa's place within it. As we commemorate Africa Day 2025, we are called not only to remember the past, but to envisage and act towards a different future. In doing so, we reaffirm our shared struggles, our collective agency, and our enduring pursuit of a more just, inclusive, and representative global order. We are living through a historic shift in the structure of global power. The once dominant unipolar world order is giving way to something more fragmented, dynamic, and uncertain, a multipolar international system. This transition is just not about the emergence of new powerful states. It is about the rebalancing of global influence and the reshaping of international norms. In this new order, power is increasingly diffused, Alliances are formed not by ideology, but by issue, and multiple sectors are being to redefine the struggles of the game. While this presents risk, including geopolitical rivalry and institutional instability, it also presents opportunities. For Africa and the global South, this evolving landscape opens space to reclaim agency and assert priorities, and reshape a global governance in a more inclusive and just direction. So within this context, the Pan-African dialogue on global governance is not only relevant, it is essential. The historical marginalization of African voices in global decision-making is well documented. From the League of Nations to the post-World War architecture of the United Nations and the Bretton Woods institutions, Africa was seen more as the subject of global governance than as an active participant in shaping the world. As the Nigerian scholar Claude Aki once observed, Africa's problems is not that it is marginal to the world, it is that it has been included in a marginal way. Pan-Africanism, born of unity, solidarity, and collective emancipation, must now be harnessed as a strategic tool for global engagement. We need to move beyond symbolic inclusion to substantive influence. This means, and a lot to South Africa in terms of reforming institutions, asserting regional agency, and building a diplomatic and policy architecture that allows South Africa to move forward. Since its transition in 1994, South Africa has positioned itself as a bridge between Africa and the world, a principled voice committed to justice, multilateralism, and continental development. Its foreign policy has consistently reflected the values enshrined in its constitution: human dignity, non-racialism, the rule of law, and democracy. They are not mere slogans, they are the compass by which South Africa has navigated world global affairs. And we see that in lots of incidents. This commitment is evident in South Africa's leadership with the African Union, its engagement in multilateral organizations, we see such as the G20 and BRICS, its active diplomacy as United Nations. South Africa has championed a progressive internationalism that foregrounds the interests of the global South, especially in areas of peace and climate justice. It is important to recognize that this positioning did not emerge in a vacuum. It is rooted in a long history of Africa advocacy for global justice. From the 1945 Pan-African Congress in Manchester to the founding of the African Organization of African Unity in 1963, its evolution into the African Union in 2001. The African continent has long envisaged sovereignty and equality and cooperation. Within this legacy, South Africa has significantly contributed to continental peace and stability. Whether through mediating conflict in Lesotho, supporting peace building in South Sudan, or facilitating dialogue in Zimbabwe, South Africa has constantly upheld the principle of Africa solutions to Africa problems. Allow me to share a powerful example of South Africa's diplomacy. In September 2024, during the 79th session of the UN General Assembly, President Ramaphosa delivered a compelling address urging the urgent reform of the UN Security Council. He declared that this current structure was outdated, calling for an overhaul that would ensure Africa's voices is fully represented on the world stage. He stated, the UN security must be reformed as a matter of urgency. It must become more inclusive so that the voices of all nations are heard and considered. This stance underscored South Africa's commitment to ensuring that Africa's 1.4 billion people are no longer sidelined, but are an integral part of a global decision-making. It remains a timeless demonstration of principled diplomacy and moral clarity. We must all consider the platforms through which South Africa advances its global vision. One of the most consequential is BRICS, a coalition that offers a powerful alternative to Western-dominated global power. South Africa has used its seat at the BRICS table to promote the African agenda, advancing discussions on development, infrastructure, investment, and trade reform. Initiatives like the new development bank and proposals for BRICS currency framework reflect its ambition to challenge historical imbalances in the global financial system. We see that happening right now in terms of many developments in the US and globally. So we are trying to reform the UN guided by the Eswini consensus. This common Africa position allows for at least 2 permanent seats for Africa, 5 non-permanent seats, and equal veto rights for all permanent members. The logic is simple. A global institution that excludes Africa from its highest decision-making body cannot claim legitimacy in the 21st century. Yet despite broad support, progress has been slow. This raises critical questions. What mechanisms do Africa states have to leverage reform? How can we forge alliances within and beyond the global south to effect meaningful institutional change? While the transformation of global institutions is ongoing, South Africa continues to demonstrate how principled diplomacy can work within existing structures. During its more recent term from 2019 to 2020 at the UN Security Council, having previously served in 2007 and 2011, South Africa prioritized conflict prevention, nuclear disarmament, and peaceful dialogue, principles grounded in constitutional values and its post-apartheid identity. South Africa is committed to promoting and achieving its vision of an Africa continent which is prosperous, peaceful, democratic, non-racial, non-sexist, and united, and contributes to a world that is just and equitable through effective multilateralism at the sub-regional SADC, regional AU, and global level, being the UN. Equally important is South Africa's role in regional integration through the Southern Africa Development Community, SADC, the promotion of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, and alignment with the AU's Agenda 2063. South Africa is helping to lay the foundation for a more unified, resilient, and globally competitive Africa. This strategy is as political as it is economic. Integration strengthens Africa's collective bargaining power, enhances policy coherence, and fosters continental solidarity. It allows us as South Africa to engage global powers not as fragmented states, but as a collective bloc with shared interests. That said, let us also acknowledge the real-world complexities of foreign policy. Like all nations, South Africa must navigate tensions between ideals and interests. There will be moments when economic cooperation challenges human rights commitments, when strategic partnerships test the boundaries of constitutional principles. These tensions must be navigated not with cynicism, but with moral clarity and strategic foresight. As we look into the future, a future marked by climate crisis, rising authoritarianism, and global inequality, South Africa's task is to remain a moral compass, a bridge builder, and a champion of multilateralism. The Pan-African dialogue on global governance must be more than a set of principles. It must become a blueprint for agency, for authorship, and for African leadership in defining the rules and institutions of tomorrow. As Kwame Nkrumah so clearly stated, we face neither east nor west, we face forward. Global governance is not a distant abstraction. It defines our access to vaccines, the regulation of our digital economies, the shape of migration policies, and the strength of our development financing. To reform global governance is to assert that Africa is central, not peripheral, to the world's future. And so I say to you as scholars, as students, as policymakers, and future diplomats, The dialogue belongs to you, the Pan-African Graduate Student Association. Is not only a site of intellectual exchange, it is a laboratory of continental leadership. So I'll leave you with these questions. What does a decolonized, inclusive, and equitable global power order look like from an African perspective? How will your scholarship and leadership shape the future? As we prepare to move from advocacy to authorship, from ambition to action, and as Amilcar Cabral once reminded us, we must dare to invent the future. Let us move with unity. Let us speak with clarity. Let us act with courage. And let us move from aspiration to implementation, from participation to authorship, from presence to power. I thank you. And I thank you for the audience, and I wish you all success for the day. And I thank you once again for the warm reception and to the previous speakers before me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Esau. Unfortunately, the ambassador is actually delivering his speech from the United Nations, and he's in and out of meetings there. So he apologizes that he will not be able to take Q&A today. So I think we should just sort of value his address and his words of wisdom and sort of move forward. So thank you again, Ambassador, and thank you everyone who's here to witness this historic address.